And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, Tom Vasel here, and today I'm taking a look at a game that was very, very popular at Gen Con this year, and that's Firefly the game. Now, Firefly is a series, a short-lived series on television. It only was one season. It basically can be described best as the Old West in space, although obviously fans will put it more, have much more strong feelings than that, and it had enough of a swell of popularity that they even made a movie about it. Now, the game's fan base is extremely strong. There are people out there who love Firefly. So let's go into this by saying that I enjoy Firefly. I liked the show and thought it was enjoyable, but there is no way that I would consider myself any sort of hardcore fan. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I wouldn't have minded seeing more seasons, but the fact that they're not making more seasons doesn't really upset me that much either. I'm good. So I'm in the middle. I'm the compromiser on this. But this theme is present in this game. But what is the game like? Let's take a look, and then I'll come back. As you can see, there is quite a few things in this game. The game really comes with a lot of good components. And one of the things that I like about the game is that it manages to use the pictures from the TV show and put them into the game in a way that they don't look cheesy, because many times these things look cheesy, but at the same time the cards have these backgrounds which gives almost a 1950s type of vibe to it. Now, each player is going to be starting with a spaceship. So here you can see one of the Fireflies, the one from the show, of course, Serenity, but there's also Bonanza, the Young Kui, and the Bonnie May. Each person is going to take their spaceship card. They're also going to start with a captain. Maybe Corbin is your captain, maybe Burgess, maybe Monty, or of course everyone's going to want Malcolm as their captain. Now, each captain and each person in the game is going to have maybe special abilities. For example, when you complete a crime job, Malcolm will get 500. He also has, he's a leader, he's a pilot, a soldier, he's moral. Over here on the side, he has different stats. The gun stands for fighting. The Chinese speech icon stands for negotiation. You can also have technology. For example, Marco here has some technology on his card. And as the game progresses, you'll get more and more people that you'll be able to add to your crew that will increase your stats in these different abilities. You also have a cargo hold here, as well as a stash. A stash is a place where you can keep cargo secretly in case people board you and take stuff. You'll be able to add cargo as time goes by, or maybe even contraband. You'll also be able to add passengers, and fugitives will be able to add to your ship. And you'll start the game with a bunch of fuel and with parts. Parts are used to repair your ship in case it ever breaks down. Fuel is often used to move your ship. Players are also going to start with an engine. Each player starts with this drive core here, which is their initial main drive, but you'll be able to increase that as the game goes by. The board is made up of different planets and different things all over the board. There is basically the Alliance space, that's this blue area here in the middle, and all the rest of it is border space. There's this gigantic Alliance cruiser here that starts here in the middle, and in the border space, it starts up here in the corner, but there's the Reaver ship. Now, it's not broken. I know that when the game first came out, people were complaining the ship was broken. That's how Reaver ships look. Think of them almost as the zombies of space. Each player is going to be able to start where they want, and the game is ready to go. Players are going to start with a certain amount of money, $3,000. They'll get some fuel and parts that they'll be able to put in their ship, and they're also going to draw some job cards. These are cards that they will get, and you can get more of these as the game goes by. Job cards can be legal or illegal, and job cards have very specific things you need to do. For example, this job here, I need to go to Valentine, which is at the White Sun, and I need to pick up 2 passengers and 1 cargo, and then I need to deliver those 2 passengers and cargo to get paid, and I need to drop them off at Anson's World at the Red Sun. If I do so, I get $900, but if I have a soldier on board my ship, I will get a $300 bonus. I also, to do this particular job, need to have at least a 2 fighting skill as a requirement. This is a legal job, but it is an immoral one, which can have different effects as the game progresses. So I look on the board, I see here, this is the White Sun system, and here's the Valentine planet, and I'm trying to deliver these guys to the Red Sun area at Anson's World, which is over here. So I'm trying to deliver them here. So what I'm going to be doing on my turn is taking 2 actions. Now, these actions often are going to be moving, picking up people at a planet, getting new contracts, buying things at planets. But like I said, one of them is movement. Now, when you move, you have 2 options. You can basically move quietly, which is 1 space, and that's it. That's your movement. That's all you have to do. But you can usually, what you'll usually want to do is you'll want a full burn, which means you'll have to spend a fuel, and then you can move as fast as your drive core says. So, for example, this driving core you start with is 5. The thing is, each space that you go into, as you move your 5, you will have to draw from the appropriate deck. There is a border space deck for the border space, and there is an alliance space deck for the alliance space. Now, when you draw these cards, sometimes the cards basically say nothing. Just keep flying. That's fine. Other times, they might let someone else move the Reaver, and you keep flying. Other times, you'll come across something that you have to deal with. For example, this one here says, "What's that noise?" And you can either try a technology test, or you can spend 1 part and keep flying. Now, this test here is an example of the tests that are in the game. You'll have to make tests a lot. The way tests work are you roll a die and you'll add any technology tokens that you might have. If I roll a 6 or higher, I'm fine. I get to keep flying. If I roll a 1 to 5, full stop, I'm done moving for the turn. So that's the way many of the tests are. That's not a very difficult test. You have these dice here. They're 6-sided dice, except for the fact that the 6th side is actually a picture of a Firefly ship, which if you roll this counts as a 6 and you can roll again. Burst combat in a sense, which is good because you will often deal with tests that are harder than that. It is safer to fly in the alliance space. There are less things that will come problems, but there's still problems in those. And the Reaver ship is very dangerous. If that ship ever lands on you, it will kill any passengers you have, and there's a really good chance it will kill your crew that you might have picked up also. Once each of the movement decks has been gone through once, you'll add these 2 cards in the Alliance Cruiser and the Reaver Cutter into the deck. And when these cards are drawn, not only do you reshuffle the deck, but these ships will come right to where you're at. The Alliance Cruiser you don't have to worry about unless you're doing something illegal or have illegal things on board. Then you're going to pay, or you might have a warrant out for your arrest. So that if you're doing illegal stuff, pain in the neck. The Reaver is always bad and will kill people. If you have a pilot and a mechanic, you might be able to spend a fuel to get away from it, but a very dangerous ship nonetheless. There are many places on the board that you can go to get supplies. You can buy fuel and parts for $100 and $300. But you can also go to that deck that matches that one, and you can search through the discards and buy one of the discards. You have a chance to basically to consider 3 different cards. So I'll say, okay, I'm going to look at these 2 cards, and I'll draw 1 card from the top of the deck. And these will be the 3 cards, and you can buy them. Each of these cards has a price on it. Sometimes the card itself is just a piece of equipment that can help, like this is a very fine hat. You can look at 4 jobs when you're doing a job. Or here you have forged documents, which can help as fake ID, or you can discard to add 1 negotiation to a negotiation test. Other times you'll have different crew that you can add. This is a moral medic, and she can give you a medic check, or here you have an interrogator. But you also have people from the series like Wash that you might want to add, or Kaylee. All these people are, all the people from the series are in these decks, and they're often probably the best characters, and you can hire these people as crew. You also have the chance to upgrade your ship. For example, here's a drive core that has a 6 range, or here's a ship upgrade, a full tune-up and retrofit, which allows you to ignore all breakdowns. So there's lots of different things that you're able to look, and each of the decks is a little bit different. For example, if you're going here to Regina, you're going to find a lot of people with fighting skills, and might find some bandits and guns at the Silver World Munitions. While if you go to the ship works, you're going to find parts likely for ships. On other spots on the board, you can go and get jobs. and these are the jobs that you need to do to win the game. When you go there, you'll go to that person's deck and do very similar things where you will look through their discard pile and take the different jobs. The jobs that pay off more will have much more difficult things that you have to do. For example, this job pays 4,000, but you're going to need 2 negotiation and then you need to misbehave. You're going to basically do an art heist. When you misbehave, you're going to be going through a deck of cards that say aim to misbehave, and you need to draw a number of these cards equal to however many the job says. Each of these cards often has 2 different choices on it, different tests. Like for example, here I need transport. I need something that says transport, so maybe horses would have worked here, and then I'm fine. Or for each crew in a job without gear, I can load 1 contraband and go on. So I can use transport to get 3, or load 1 contraband for each. Then I go to the next card, and here I have to take this test, or I have to have transport, or a fake ID lets me get through the whole thing. So these tests are often more difficult. This is a negotiation 8 test, which is going to be difficult to succeed at. And sometimes, if you fail at these, you'll get a warrant for your arrest, which can be very dangerous because the alliance ship will come after you. And also, when you do these illegal jobs, sometimes that will cause you other problems. Every time you do a job, you're going to get paid for that job. So let's say, for example, I swiped some settlers rations here, and I managed to do the job successfully, got my 2,800. But this is my crew here, Marco, Jane, Stark, and Zoe. I'm going to have to pay each of them their price. So Zoe and Jane, I got to pay 300 each of them. Marco's my captain, I'm fine there, and I have to pay Stark 100. Now I can decide not to pay my crew, but if I do that, my crew is going to become disgruntled for each crew member that I don't pay. And if that happens to them twice, they'll leave. Not only that, if another player goes in the same spot as me, they can hire these crew directly from me. Each game has a story. This is essentially the setup for how the game works and what your goals are, how you win the different games. So for example, this one here, you would have to go take 3 specific tests. Negotiation test of 9, a technology test of 7, and a fighting test of 10, and each of those has a pile of misbehave cards. So that you'd have to do all 3 of these goals to win this one. Maybe some of the goals are basically just very simple. You just have to get a pile of money. But there's different cards that are included so you can try different end goals and basically play a scenario that's your liking. These scenarios also will have basically affect the game length. So the way you win the game is going to be specifically mentioned on these cards, whichever one you choose for the game. Obviously, the theme of the game, the theme of the game is going to be something we need to talk about. But before we talk about that, let's talk about components. The components are top-notch. Top-notch. Gale Force 9 did an absolutely incredible job, just like they did with Spartacus last year. This is a game, when you put it out on the table, I remember when I saw it at Gen Con walk by, and I was wowed. It looks good, high quality. This game has paper money, something I usually rave about, and this is pretty decent paper money. Everything about this game just looks fantastic. I have no complaints about any of that. Then the theme itself. Now, I'm of 2 minds about the theme. First of all, is it Firefly? Does the Firefly theme make sense with the game? Definitely, okay? From everything from the ships to the characters to the special abilities that the characters have to the bad guys who are giving you jobs that you have to go do to that alliance ship, to the Reaver ships and how wicked they are. The theme works with this game. If you play it, you'll say, I can see Firefly in this game. So Firefly theme is in the game. But I do not think that the game itself feels like Firefly. This game is essentially a pick up and deliver game. You go around and do whatever little jobs you can until you can have enough crew and equipment and stuff to do the bigger jobs. And then when you do those bigger jobs, you get more money and you can do whatever your end of the goal is. And that was the background for Firefly. But that wasn't what the show was about. The show was about the crazy antics and situations that the crew found themselves in. And those crazy antics and all that is kind of relegated to a single die roll that's part of a bigger game. So in my opinion, I don't think that this game brought forth the Firefly TV show. It's the Firefly universe, yes. But I don't feel like it was the TV show that much. Now, whether you like that or not is going to depend. I mean, I've met people, some people really like the game, other people don't like it that much. It is essentially a pick up and delivery game. So you're going around and you're hunting down stuff and you're delivering it. And I don't mind that. There's you have options, it's wide open. However, you're kind of doing the same thing or not. You really, I'm sure someone's going to disagree with me, but you really can't do much legally in this game. You're going to have to go illegal after a point. And there are possibilities that a card is drawn or a test goes poorly that just really puts you back at slot 0. And I don't mind luck in games, and I think this game has lots of luck. I love the die rolling. I think it's great. But there are occasional times where a mission will go poorly or something, and it will just take you out of the game, or at least put you really far behind. And so that's kind of, the game's also long. Anyone who tells you it's not long has played it probably 20 times and just has it zoomed down. The game comes with this dinosaur token. I know this means something to the show, and here I'm going to show the fact that I don't know every single thing about the show. I know that the dinosaur means something, but you're supposed to pass it around to whoever's turn it is. Yeah, whatever. I'm not passing a dinosaur around to you when it's your turn. But the game just takes a long time. The intro scenario in the book, don't play that one. That was really long. They say play this one for your first game. Fortunately, I was warned off of that, and we just played when we got money. In fact, I think Gale Force 9 has a new introductory scenario on their website. So, I'm kind of a mix on this one. I don't usually mention numbers in my reviews, but I think here it's going to matter more than many other reviews. I'm going to say this one, for me, is a 6, which out of 10. Now, I give lots of 6s out to games that I enjoy, so yes, I enjoyed this, but here's the deal. If you took out these beautiful components, if you took out the chrome, and I was just playing kind of a bare basic mechanics of the game, I would say, it's okay, but Merchants of Venus and Zia do it better. And I played other games where I go and move stuff. And I would probably give it a 4, because it's okay, but that die rolling, even though I like dice rolling, here it's so critical at certain junctures of the game, and in such a very long game, can change everything. Add the theme back in, great, that brings it up to a 6. It would have brought it up more if the theme had approached that what it was on a television show. Another thing about the game is that it's very, very, very strongly, you're playing your own game. I'm going around, I'm picking stuff up, I'm delivering. You very rarely interact with the other players. You can move the Reaver ship towards them, but you can only move it usually one space at a time. You can hire crew away from other people, but that's about it. For the most part, when you're doing something on your turn, I don't really care. And so there's a decent amount of bookkeeping, keeping track of stuff, but it's cool. I love the traveling through space mechanic. I love the die run. There's lots of different pieces of this game that I like. It's just that when I put them all together, when the whole thing is done, here's the thing on this. I'm not going to go home and tell stories about them. I'm not going to say, man, we were fighting these guys, and I wrote that to be like, no, I was doing well on the one job, I botched it up, and I don't know. The game doesn't leave me with stories, and that's something I was kind of hoping for from a Firefly game. I do think people who like straight transportations and grab goods and go over here and self-bar, I think they'll like this game a lot. You don't even have to like the Firefly theme to fit all that in. So take that as it will. This game is certainly a divisive one. There's people out there I know who really love it, and there's people out there who do not think so. You are getting a well-designed game. You are getting a very well put-together product. For me, though, it just crossed the line where I'll say, that's good. But I think you have to talk to me a little bit to get me to play it.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.